A Florida jury acquits former Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum of lying to the FBI about accepting gifts from undercover agents. The jury deadlocked on the more severe charges of conspiracy and wire fraud against Gillum and his co-defendant Sharon Lettman-Hicks related to the misuse of campaign funds. The 12-person jury could not reach a verdict on 1 count of conspiracy and 17 counts of wire fraud against both defendants. U.S. District Judge Allen Winsor declared a mistrial on the counts that ended with no verdict reached. Assistant U.S. Attorney Gary Milligan II said the government would retry Gillum and Lettman-Hicks on the conspiracy and wire fraud charges. I want to bring in our panel for this evening. We are joined by the wonderful Lauren Victoria Burke of Black Press USA, the esteemed Dr. Nola Haynes, PhD, Georgetown University School of Foreign Service, and Dr. Cleo Mango, social advisor, social architect, and chief advisor of the Black Men's Exchange. Welcome, everyone, to tonight's show. I want to start off with you, Dr. I'm sorry, did I say your name right? Manago?
That time you were right, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. It's our first time together, so bear with me. Please correct me. I want to start off with you and your reaction to the mixed messages, mixed verdict, but overall probably a win more than anything for Andrew Gillum. What's your reaction?
Oh, my reaction is relief. As far as I'm concerned, it was a witch hunt. It was petty anyway. And it's been more revenge politics, getting back at the man for having such a strong presence when he ran for the governor of Florida. And they've been after him ever since because he had the nerves to almost win and potentially turn on its head the white supremacist control of that state, which has been the case for many, many years. And I think they want to teach him a lesson, and they wanted to embarrass him, humiliate him, and destroy him to the nth degree. And I'm relieved that him and my friend Sharon Hickman has been found basically exonerated for this situation. I expect the whole thing to go away at some point because it was petty in the first place. So I feel good about it, and I am relieved.
So even though the attorney has said they will retry, your prediction is that they will cut their losses and move on?
Well, they're desperate. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
I am just relieved that it turned out the way it did at this point. But they're desperate. They like to make a point. They like to make statements. They like to make people fearful of stepping up, as Gillum did. And I don't know what they're going to do. I would imagine, given how cutthroat they are, they're going to attempt to make this happen again. But I don't think they're going to be successful.
Right. Now, Dr. Haynes, I know you are sensitive about weighing in more political ways, but one thing I found was interesting was that Gillum was raising money for his legal defense fund. It's interesting that he had so much trouble kind of raising money, where we've seen other kind of white-collar crimes and people of that nature who are up for similar charges not have any problems. Do you think, in terms of kind of the challenges that he had with raising funds, bear it at all in the kind of justice he was able to get here today?
You know, when it comes to Mr. Gillum, first of all, for the man to still be able to stand up and continue to fight, I mean, you have to give him credit for that. He has definitely been through the ringer. And as a Southerner myself, it just breaks my heart to see what's happening in places like Florida and Texas. And I agree with the comment with the doctor said just before me, that a lot of this feels like revenge politics.
Yeah.
So in terms of the particulars of his case and the kind of political landscape, you're right. I won't comment too much on that. But what I will say is what I have been noticing is what we need to move away from when we're thinking about things like this is framing this in terms of like culture war, sorts of things. I've been talking a lot about this. These types of revenge politics, like this goes beyond any sort of culture war, right? This is something else. This is something different, and we are wading in very dangerous territory. And I just want to say, props to him. He keeps standing up and fighting for himself, and we all know he has truly been through it. And I just wish him I wish him well on the other side of it. That's really my thoughts and feelings about it.
Right. I mean, I think you make a good point. We do tend to sometimes talk about these things in terms of the culture wars, but this was a man who was a father of two, a husband, and this has completely shaken up his life to the point to where he's no longer on CNN, and some of his opportunities have closed as a result of this prosecution. Lauren, what's your take on the results that we saw today? Also keeping in mind that Trump is up for similar charges, obviously at the state level, but wire fraud is one of those, kind of charges that usually are pretty easy to get a conviction on.
Yeah, I echo what Cleo Monago said, this idea that it just feels, I think our spidey sense is tingling when you see that Andrew Gillum, of course, almost beat Ron DeSantis to be governor of Florida. And then shortly after that, of course, we get this trial with all of these counts, and you get the big announcement. And, he was led into court in waist chains and ankle bracelets and all drama and nonsense and everything else. And it turns out to be a big nothing. You have a 17 counts of everybody reading everything. It kind of reminds me of the Brian Benjamin situation in New York with the lieutenant governor. And big announcement, big press conference, and then a big nothing. I mean, literally everything was kicked out of court. And so I have a hard time believing that any of this would be happening had he not come very close to winning statewide in Florida, which has been something that has been incredibly difficult for the Democrats to do. And he, of course, almost did that for governor. So in what would have been, of course, a historic moment in terms of him being the first black governor of Florida. So it's just, a situation where it doesn't feel like something of coincidence. It was a book that came out some years ago from a professor at University of Maryland named Derek Musgrove on this very topic, which was black elected officials being, investigated on ethics matters. What an amazing coincidence.
Yeah.
It just feels what it feels. And as for Donald Trump, it is amazing to me the difference in reaction to what is going on with him with regard to the E. Jean Carroll case. He is on trial for rape, and then CNN decides to platform him. They're going to platform him next week, which I find quite interesting. It's just, that doesn't matter to anybody that this guy is being accused. Now, of course, he has not been convicted yet, but still, to listen to the evidence in the courtroom is quite interesting. And however the outcome, good for E. Jean Carroll for playing it out and going all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I definitely think that we've seen, as you pointed out, the drastic difference in the theater behind it, obviously going out of their way to humiliate Mayor Gillum with the chains. It's really appalling. And they seem to always find the time and the unlimited resources to investigate black lawmakers, even costing, as you pointed out, former Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin his job, and it was a big nothing burger. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this story and hope for the best for the Gillum family.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Mark Unfiltered video in just one moment. When you talk about blackness and what happens in black culture, we're about covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind 100,000, so we want to hit that. Your money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. The Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.